I haven't said it before on this channel, but I love me some Mario Party. Everybody's favorite friendship ender was a huge part of my childhood, so when Nintendo announced a game at E3 2018 that seemed to be a return to form for the series, you know I was on board day one. So to celebrate its release, today we're going to take a look at the top 5 best minigames in Super Mario Party. With the game still fresh in my mind though, I couldn't make this list alone, so I brought some friends to the party.
Hi, I'm TokenGeek. Bolt and I have collabed now a few times over on my channel, but this is more than likely the first time that you're seeing me.
And I'm James from Stuff We Play. You might know me from such videos as Bolt's Alien Isolation Review, Bolt's Shrek Wreakin' Havoc Review, or indeed as one of 3 people in the world who actually enjoy Sonic Forces.
With over 80 minigames spread across several different modes, we've got our work cut out for us.
One thing we want to note before starting is that anything in Super Mario Party is fair game for this list except for the 4 minigames that are exclusive to Toad's Rec Room. For whatever reason, Nintendo didn't care to include them in the minigame screen. They're just shoved off into their own little corner. Sadly, that means that Shell Shock Deluxe won't be featured here, but rest assured, it's fantastic regardless.
Without further ado, let's get this party started. Some of my favorite minigames in the Mario Party franchise are focused around simply surviving a crazy onslaught. Gridiron Gauntlet harkens back to these, while also going a step beyond. In this free-for-all minigame, you're thrown on a football field and have to avoid charging chucks for 30 whole seconds. The last player standing wins, or if multiple players survive, the player with the most health takes the crown. Yeah, you heard me right, this game has health. Gridiron Gauntlet isn't one mistake and you're out like so many of the minigames of old. Instead, you can survive the first 2 hits you take, meaning that this won't ever be one of those minigames that can last as little as 5 seconds, and I love this.
It's such a chaotic rush to get to the parts of the field that are safe, and you'll often have to bump your opponents into the path of a chuck just to make sure that you yourself are safe. In that way, it takes a page from Book Squirm.
I will say I have one teensy little complaint that I would add to this minigame, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the list. Even with that nitpick though, I always had a smile on my face when playing Gridiron Gauntlet.
Small question, do you enjoy Super Soakers? Do you crave the thrill and excitement of a Super Soaker fight, but without all of that water? Well, you're in luck because right now we're talking about Soak or Croak. In this minigame, you stand in a fountain with all 3 of your opponents and try to blast each other off the stage using your water guns. However, there's a catch. Your guns must be pumped up and filled with water, which is done by making a motion with your Joy-Con as if you were using a bicycle pump. Granted, you don't need to make a massive motion for it to register, which in turn leads to this being a very fast and frantic minigame. What makes this minigame in particular so great is the reliance on skill. If it weren't for the time limit, I'm sure some rounds of Soak or Croak could go on for upwards of a few minutes, but thanks to the timer, it keeps things moving and perhaps even more frantic. Essentially, this minigame takes a simple concept and adds a unique yet non-intrusive twist to it, and this results in by far one of the most entertaining parts of Super Mario Party.
The only 2v2 minigame on this list is also the only one here that utilizes the Switch's HD Rumble. Super Mario Party has a handful of minigames that rely on Rumble, and most of them are hit or miss. In fact, one of them is on our list of the worst minigames in Super Mario Party. Nutcases, though, is one of the best uses of the HD Rumble on the entire system. At its core, it's pretty much just the ball count minigame from 1-2 Switch. Players will pick up one of the boxes spread throughout the level, and solely through the controller's vibrations, they'll get an idea of how many acorns are inside each box. Each team can pick 4 boxes, and whichever team has the most acorns at the end wins. Since you can't steal boxes once the opponents place them on their side, time is of the essence, making for a hectic sprint around the map. Should I go for the ones closest to the other team so that I can grab any full boxes before they get to them? This box feels good, but can I find a better one? Wait, is this box nuttier than the one I just put in our safe zone? All of this is running through your head while your brain also processes these subtle differences in vibration. It's just the right amount of that perfect chaos that makes Mario Party so good.
One thing that I've been loving the most about Super Mario Party so far is the sheer amount of strategy that's been implemented into the gameplay. The character dice and ally systems really speak for themselves, but one small change that you might not have noticed is that now every single character has their own unique hitbox. Why does this matter? Well, while Donkey Kong and Bowser may have arguably the best roles in the game, they also naturally have the disadvantage in minigames like Gridiron Gauntlet. Where I feel that this is best displayed, however, is in Trip Navigator. Do any of you remember Paths of Peril from Mario Party 4? In that minigame, 4 players work their way along a narrow path to a fixed center point between them, trying not to fall off in the process. The idea of Trip Navigator is similar in that all players involved are trying to get to the center the fastest, but this time around, instead of a perilous path, you're trying to weave between a maze of banana peels. Now, of course, since I mentioned hitbox earlier, certain characters like Donkey Kong or Bowser can travel further in their steps but have a harder time avoiding said bananas. While the smaller characters may have a shorter walk cycle, they can actually weave in and out of those tiny minuscule gaps with less of an issue. Slipping on the bananas can leave the player in hit stun though, so no matter what size you are, you must always be careful when working your way through. It may not seem it, but Trip Navigator is a well-balanced minigame. What I love most about it is that it really works well in practice, no matter how simple it may be on paper. It's the brilliant evolution of a minigame that, in my eyes, is among the series' best.
If you look back at the previous 4 minigames, they all have something in common. They're really fun, arguably some of the best in the series, but none of them really just let you be a jerk. Over the years, Mario Party has lightened up a bit, but sometimes I just want to smack my friends like you could in so many of the early minigames. For example, Gridiron Gauntlet's one issue to me is that I think you should be able to slap your opponents and stun them for just a moment before they get destroyed by the charging chucks. It's not nearly as satisfying when your only option is to walk into a rival and hope that that nudges them into the line of fire. Super Mario Party's best minigame is pretty much the only one that lets you slap your friends, and that game is the fittingly titled Slap-o-Razzi. Players will fight to get in front of the camera Koopas and to be the most centered in the shot before it's taken. Naturally, all 4 players are immediately running across the level and crowding themselves into a very tiny space. And what better to do in a small space than smack? There's something amazing about the idea of Mario and crew quite literally fighting over the spotlight. And what makes it even better is that as each picture is taken over the course of 7 rounds, you actually get to see those pictures for a moment in all of their hilarious, slappy glory. It's just the right length for a minigame. It's just the perfect concept for a minigame. It's just the right amount of chaos for a minigame. And it's just what you need sometimes during a particularly tense game to let off some steam with a little bit of slapping. So there you have it, our ranking of the best 5 minigames in Super Mario Party. But we're not done yet. In fact, we've gone above and beyond, with 3 lists for Super Mario Party in total.
Over on my channel, we moved to the other end of the spectrum and counted down the top 5 worst minigames.
And over on my channel, being as it is home of everything weird and retro after all, we took a look at the top 5 weirdest Super Mario Party minigames. So definitely head over there and check it out.
Make sure you check out both of those at the end of this video, and while you're at it, make sure you watch some content from both of these guys too. They put out some fantastic videos. With all that said, as always, thank you very much for watching, and
Speaking of minigame compilations, Bolt, did you ever open that package that I sent you?
What? Oh, yeah, I've got it right here. Hold on, let me just take it out of the package.
Do you want to do that over on my channel? You know you're always welcome in my swamp.